23rd. We are here for some more wrestling, baby. Yeah. And it is time for the midweek must-see matches. We're going to break down everything in the world of wrestling from this past week. This starts last Thursday into everything, including last night's AEW Dynamite. And I think you guys know what match I'm going to be talking about from that show. Holy shit, Kenny Omega and El Vikingo. Good Lord. We'll talk about that as we go through the list here a little bit more. Before we get into it, just a quick little update on what's ahead here, even later today. I didn't get this rant off last night. I watched Dynamite and I was absolutely exhausted by the end of it. So didn't get the rant in late on Wednesday night. But here we are, Thursday morning for this one. Later on, we are continuing our series of retrospective WrestleManias in Southern California. The next one up is WrestleMania 7. We're going to do a full rant looking back at that event with some interesting trivia that you may not know from the event, as well as star ratings for each of the matches, and just a whole lot of information jam-packed into that retrospective. Then coming up later this weekend, I'm going to try to get all of the other WrestleManias done, the ones in Southern California. This is WrestleMania 12, 16, as well as 21. I'm going to try to get them all checked out as best I can over the weekend. I'm going to hopefully do at least 2 of them, the ones from the Anaheim Pond over the weekend, and hopefully that WrestleMania 21 from the Staples Center. Try to get to it as well. That might roll into next week as we get closer to the days counting. What do we got? About 9 days away from WrestleMania now. So I'm starting to really get excited, not just for WrestleMania, but WrestleMania week, folks, because we are going to be doing a shitload of rants all about every single show that I'm going to be checking out here at home. I'm not going to Los Angeles, but I'm going to be glued to my television watching event after event after event from about probably Wednesday on or Thursday on. There is so many shows, so be looking for special rants coming up for WrestleMania week from Wednesday, Thursday onward. We're just going to be doing tons of reviews and rants. Some unique ones. We might do some versus special rants. We'll see what comes down the pipeline, but for sure, be keeping your eyes glued right here, where we're going to be talking a lot about WrestleMania week, and we're going to be reviewing a lot about WrestleMania week as well. All this week as well, I want to give a heads up on this. We're going to be dropping some archived videos from WrestleMania weeks in the past. I tried to upload my 2015 content, my 2016 content, and my 2017 content on my other phone. I'm having some issues with that, so those may not see the light of day. Those might have to wait till maybe next year around this time, where we drop some archived retrospective videos of WrestleMania's past. But for sure, look for some videos dropped from 2018's New Orleans WrestleMania week, as well as the Dallas WrestleMania week. You should be looking forward to some content from at least those couple of years of WrestleMania coming up later in the week to lead into WrestleMania. There was a lot of videos that unfortunately got dropped from the other channel that I had, the main Wrestling Rants channel, getting suspended permanently. But I should be able to go back and reload and re-upload a lot of those videos from the Ring of Honor, Supercard of Honor with the Briscoes and FTR. We had great seats for that one. Of course, WrestleMania as well from last year in Dallas. So be on the lookout for those. Upcoming soon. As time warrants, I will start uploading those later in the week. All right, let's get into everything from the past week with our midweek must-see matches. Let's start on the 16th of March. This would have been last Thursday. We're going to take a look at, we already discussed the Versus episode where we looked at Impact versus Ring of Honor. Well, we're going to just take a quick look back at that day. There's a few matches that stood out on both of those shows, particularly one match on each of those shows, actually. On Impact, that 6-man tag with the Bullet Club against Josh Alexander, Kazarian, and Rich Swann. I'd say, I wouldn't say this was like the top match of the week by any means, but this was something you should really check out if you're looking for some of the best stuff of the past week. Also, the opener from Ring of Honor, that was Claudio Castagnoli against one of my favorites, Willie Mack. Check that out as well. It's kind of a quick match, but it was a strong match for sure to open up Ring of Honor from last Thursday. St. Patrick's Day this past year had a lot of good wrestling on St. Patrick's Day from not just one, not just two, not just three, but 4 different organizations on St. Patrick's Day. How about that? I guess the first one I'll talk about is from the New Japan Cup. This was in Korakuen Hall in Tokyo. Sanada against Tetsuya Naito. We talked about this during the Top 10 Takes New Japan Cup rant. This was an excellent match. Naito jobbed clean to Sanada with his new finish, and Sanada turned on LIJ and sure enough went with a new group. Well, a group that was already established with Taichi now has added Sanada, and now Sanada appears to be kind of leading that group. Those 5 guys, I think it's called, or something like that. I can never get that name down, by the way. It just doesn't stick very well on the palate, so to speak. Also, let's talk about SmackDown from last Friday in that pretty excellent Sheamus and Drew McIntyre match. They never really have a bad match when you put those two together. This was no exception. Finish was a bit off. I mean, it was just a no contest, basically, when Imperium interfered. But boy, the crux of this match was something else, folks. Not the best match they've ever had, for sure, but very solid, very worth checking out. That, as a matter of fact, must-see show of the week. I would think last Friday's SmackDown was must-see. It was just from top to bottom an excellent show. And I would imagine the one from Vegas tonight should be no exception as well. It should be a pretty solid lead-in to WrestleMania as we move forward. Another match on Friday night. This was from Rampage. Powerhouse Hobbs against Phoenix for the TNT Championship. Damn, this was good. This was really fucking good. Go out of your way. It's very rare that you got kind of a must-see match on Rampage, but this was definitely worth taking a look at. Then we finish off on St. Patrick's Day night with another humdinger, and this was a GCW World Championship title change. Masha Slamovich beat Nick Gage. Check this match out. It was very well put together. I thought it was very well done, and I'm all for this title change. I think this is an excellent move by GCW, and this was a fun match. I'll tell you what. So, big stuff on St. Patrick's Day. 4 big kind of must-see matches on St. Patrick's Day. We move into the next day on Saturday on the 18th. There actually really wasn't anything going on much in the world of wrestling. There was a match for the New Japan Cup, which I guess I could say maybe go out of your way and see a little bit if you're interested. That was David Finlay and Shota Umino. That was the semifinals of the New Japan Cup. It was pretty good. I would say if there is a match on that day of note, that would be certainly it. I put it on the list still as a kind of like a secondary must-see. It wasn't the greatest match ever. I rated it number 9 of the top 10 New Japan matches, so it still had some prominence for sure, so I'll throw it down on the list. How about on the 19th? This would have been last Sunday. We have 2 matches. Another one from New Japan. This is the other semifinal of the New Japan Cup. Sanada and Aussie Open's Mark Davis really brought it. Worth checking that one out. Also, another show from GCW. This was in Toronto. And they had already a GCW championship match for Masha Slamovich as she worked and defeated Speedball Mike Bailey. This match was even better than the Nick Gage match with Masha Slamovich. So if you wanted to pick one of the 2 Masha matches from the weekend, this would be the one. Bailey and Slamovich just flowed and gelled really well. There was a lot more hardcore aspects to this match than I expected. The ring got basically tore up. The ring ropes were off. The ring mat was off. The ring boards were off. This was worth checking out for sure. On the 20th, this would have been on Monday. You know, Raw really didn't have too much to talk about, but I will make note that I thought the Chad Gable and Ricochet match, for what little time they gave him, was pretty solid. If there was anything match-wise to check out on that show, that would probably been it. Moving on to Tuesday on the 21st. One big match stood out on NXT that I have to definitely talk about. That's Ilya Dragunov against fucking JD McDonough. These guys go, excuse me, go, and they don't know when to stop. These two have a program that probably will go for quite a while. There'll probably be some big tentpole matches with this program. There's a lot of good shit with Dragunov and McDonough. Go out of your way, check this out on NXT. There was a no contest finish because those two guys, as well as Wes Lee and Dragon Lee, are going to be in a ladder match at Stand and Deliver, which should be excellent. And I would consider and assume after that match, Dragunov and McDonough will continue the feud. We're going to see more matches with these guys. It's just the start of it. This is a hot program for NXT. And ironically, that, you know, WWE had two kind of really standout matches with McIntyre, Sheamus, and Dragunov, McDonough. Both matches actually had no contests on them. Just a little trivia note on that. Then we get to the last part of this must-see week. Wednesday, the 22nd, just yesterday, two matches stand out as really excellent stuff. First one I'm going to talk about is the Lio Rush and Hiromu Takahashi match from the New Japan Cup Finals. That show was kind of underwhelming. I already talked about how I felt about the New Japan Cup final match between Finlay and Sonata. I thought it was lackluster. It was just not what I thought it was going to be. But damn, this match delivered times 10. This was so good. I would have probably put this match as the best match of the week entirely. This Lio Rush and Hiromu match. If it wasn't for the main event of Dynamite, Kenny Omega and El Hijo de Vikingo. My God, this match was something else. You have to absolutely put it as one of the best of the year in wrestling so far. You absolutely have to put it as one of the best main events in Dynamite history. And no question about it, you got to put it in the top 10 for sure of what the best matches, probably not just on Dynamite, but in AEW history. It was that damn good. And I'm looking forward to a rematch for this already. Probably in AAA. This would be where I would assume they're setting that up for the mega title for Kenny Omega and Vikingo. Probably at one of the Triple Manias coming up down the year. This would set this up perfectly, as Vikingo did the job to Omega on the show last night. And god damn that match. 5 stars all the way. Love that match. And that match was the absolute pinnacle of the must-see matches of the week. Ironically, at the end of the week, right at the tail end, we get the best match of the week. One of the best matches of the year for sure as well. I really don't have anything this week for the Kerplunk moments matches. There really wasn't anything that I saw on TV that made me think, oh my goodness, this match was absolutely rough and terrible and shitty. There just really wasn't much to say about that this week. So that's a positive. There'll be weeks, I'm sure, coming up where there will be some Kerplunks to note. But as far as it goes this week, there really wasn't anything to note on that. This was a pretty solid week in ring, in the world of wrestling. And you got a lowdown list of everything must-see for this past week. We'll be back next week around the same time. Maybe we'll try to get it in on Wednesday night this time around next week for next week's midweek must-see matches. All right, everybody, come on back. Retrospective WrestleMania 7 up next. Come on back later on, right here, Wrestling Rants, baby!